Hello and welcome guys to a new episode on SportPredictorFanatic. Today we're going to predict the Premier League round 4 matchups that are going to be played this weekend. We're going to do it as always. Just first I'm going to predict all the matches and then I'm going to get into what I will do for my betting strategy, what I'm going to do with betting wise. Make sure you are tuned in for that. But first, we're going to start with the first matchup, which is going to be Southampton against Manchester United. Southampton, of course, started the season with 3 losses against Newcastle, against Nottingham, and against Brentford. In the meantime, they did win their EFL Cup game against Cardiff, though. But in the Prem, they are on 0 points for now. Manchester United started the season with a loss to Manchester City in the FA Community Shield. The loss was actually on penalties, though, so it wasn't as bad, especially not, of course, if you're playing against Manchester City. They then won their first Premier League match, which was against Fulham. But then lost back-to-back against Brighton and Liverpool. These two, Southampton and Manchester United, last played each other in 2023, where it actually ended in a draw. And actually the last time Southampton won was back in 2016. Since then, 7 wins for Man United and 8 draws. The last time Southampton won at home against Man United was all the way back in 2003, so that's like more than 20 years ago. And since then there's been 10 wins for Man United away at Southampton and 5 draws. And I think even with not that good of a form for Man United at the moment, I still think they should win against this bad Southampton at the moment. I'm gonna go for Man United there. Then we have Brighton against Ipswich. Brighton has actually started the season quite good with first 2 wins in the Premier League against Everton and Man United, then a win in the EFL Cup against Crawley Town, and then in the Premier League a 1-1 draw against Arsenal, which is of course not a bad start. Ipswich, on the other hand, had like a really rough start with first a loss against, I think it was Liverpool, then a loss against Manchester City, then a loss on penalties in the EFL Cup against AFC Wimbledon, which is actually a 4th league team, so that was actually really bad because of course they're in the Premier League right now. It happens. And actually the last match in the Premier League was a point. It was a draw against Fulham. And actually last time Brighton and Ipswich played each other was back in 2017 in the Championship, where it ended in a draw. But I think, of course, now Brighton have the stronger team, have the better form. And I don't think it's going to be an easy win, but I think Brighton will get the win. Then we have Crystal Palace against Leicester City. Crystal Palace started the season with 2 losses against Brentford and West Ham. Then won in the EFL Cup against Norwich, but then drew again against Chelsea in the Prem. Leicester started with a draw against Tottenham, then lost against Fulham, then won in the EFL Cup, but back in the Prem they lost again against Aston Villa. The last time these two actually played each other, though, was back in 2023, where actually Crystal Palace won. I think the teams are quite even right now. I think both are capable of winning this matchup. And because of that, I'm just going to go for a draw. Then we have Fulham against West Ham. Fulham started the season with a loss against Manchester United, then won against Leicester City, then also won in the EFL Cup against Birmingham. But back in the Premier League, they once again drew against Ipswich, which of course not the best result. Then West Ham, who actually also started with a loss this season against Aston Villa. But they then went on to win against Crystal Palace. They won in the EFL Cup against Bournemouth. But then in the Prem back, they lost against Manchester City, which of course, no shame. Last season, these two, of course, played each other twice, with Fulham actually winning both matches, with maybe a remarkable stat here, but it was 7-0 in aggregate. I think one match was 2-0 and the other one was 5-0, which was pretty interesting. But I think West Ham are going to win this matchup. I think they have the better team. I think they have more quality in the team. And because of that, we'll get the W. Then we have Liverpool against Nottingham Forest. Liverpool have started the season off perfectly with 3 wins over Ipswich, Brentford and Manchester United. Nottingham have started with a draw against Bournemouth, then a win against Southampton. Then in the EFL Cup they actually lost to Newcastle on penalties, but then back in the Prem they drew against the Wolves. Last season, these two, of course, also played each other twice, with, of course, Liverpool winning at both matchups. Nottingham have actually never won away against Liverpool, with Liverpool actually winning 8 times and the other 4 ending in a draw. And I think Liverpool are going to win again due to just them playing better, having more quality in the team. And I think they're going to win quite simply. About winning quite simply, the next match is Manchester City against Brentford. Manchester City started the season with a win over town rivals Man United in the FA Community Shield. Then went on to win the first 3 Premier League matches as well, with a win over Chelsea, Ipswich and West Ham. While Brentford started the season with a win over Crystal Palace, then a loss against Liverpool, but then won their match in the EFL Cup. And back in the Prem, they also won against Southampton. Last season, these two, of course, played each other twice, with Manchester City winning both matchups. Interesting is actually that the season before, Brentford actually won both the home and away matches. And I actually think that away match from Brentford that they won at Manchester City is still the last league game Manchester City lost at home. So Brentford actually the last opponents to where Manchester City lost against when they were playing home in the Prem. Could it happen again? I'm going to be honest. I don't think so. Manchester City are just a better team, better form, and will win this matchup. Then we have Aston Villa against Everton. Aston Villa started off season with a win over with a win over West Ham, but then lost against Arsenal. Won again against Leicester. So had a pretty good start, but not the perfect, of course. And then Everton started the Premier League season with 3 losses against Brighton, Tottenham and Bournemouth, which of course not a good start. In the meantime, they did win their EFL Cup game against Doncaster Rovers, but I mean, you should. But last season, these two played each other 3 times actually, with Aston Villa winning at home in the Premier League matchup, but then Everton winning away at Aston Villa in the EFL Cup, and then in the Everton Stadium it was a scoreless draw. I think Aston Villa have the better team, and I think they should win this matchup, although it could be quite close. Everton is such a hit and miss, I have the feeling, but I think until now they've been a miss. So with that, Aston Villa will get the W. Then we have a Bournemouth against Chelsea. Bournemouth actually started the season with 2 draws against Nottingham and Newcastle, then lost in the EFL Cup against West Ham. But then back in the Prem, they actually won their first match of the season against Everton. Chelsea started the season with a loss against City, then a win against the Wolves, but then a draw against Crystal Palace. In the meantime, they also qualified for the Conference League against Servette FC, which was only 3-2 on aggregate. They actually won the first one 2-0, and I think they lost the second one 2-1. So that was not too good, but I mean, they qualified, so that's the most important thing. And last season, Bournemouth and Chelsea, of course, played each other twice, with Chelsea winning at home and the other one ending in a scoreless draw. The last time Bournemouth was actually won was back in 2019. Since then, 2 draws and 4 wins for Chelsea. And I think Chelsea are going to win again. Although they're not looking too stable at the moment, I think they have the better team, they have more quality, and they should just win this matchup. Then, Tottenham against Arsenal, of course. A big matchup, not only because of them being, being related as top 6 teams, but also because of the fact that they are big rivals. Tottenham have not had the best start of the season, with first a draw against Leicester, then a win over Everton, but then a loss against Newcastle. Arsenal actually started the season with 2 wins against Wolves and Aston Villa, but then dropped 2 points in a draw against Brighton. Last season, these two, of course, played each other twice, with actually the first match ending in a draw, but the match in the Tottenham Stadium was actually won by Arsenal. I think Arsenal and Tottenham's teams are quite equal, with maybe a slight advantage to Arsenal. But with the form I think they're both in, I think Arsenal will win this matchup. Then we have Wolves playing against Newcastle. Wolves have had a rough start of the year with losses against Arsenal and Chelsea. But then in the EFL Cup they did win against Burnley, but back in the Prem they drew against Nottingham. So they're only on 1 point at the moment. Newcastle have had a better start of the year, winning against Southampton, then drawing against Bournemouth, then in the EFL Cup winning against Nottingham, and back in the Prem also winning against Tottenham. Last season, these two, of course, played each other twice, with one ending in a draw and the other one actually being won by Newcastle when they were playing at home. The last time Wolves won was back in 2021. Since then, 3 wins for Newcastle and 2 draws. I think Newcastle do have the better team this year, and of course the better form at the moment. So with that, I actually expect Newcastle to win this matchup. And then we're gonna do my betting strategy. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be putting on 5 matches. The 5 matches are Palace against Leicester City being a draw. The odd for that is 4.0. Then West Ham winning their matchup this weekend with an odd of 2.8. Then Chelsea winning their matchup with an odd of 2.0. Then Arsenal winning their matchup with an odd of 2.34. And then Newcastle winning their matchup with an odd of 2.1. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my basic betting strategy, which is based on being secure and not throwing your money away, basically. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be putting on the doubles and the trebles you can make from those 5 matches, which for the doubles you have 10 combinations, for the trebles you have 10 combinations. What I'm going to do, I always want to bet like around 10 euros. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to be putting 50 cents on all those 20 combinations in total, which of course come to 10 euros. And with that, we are trying to gain some profit again, which would of course be really nice. So yeah, with that, I actually want to thank y'all for watching. Please have a great day and I'll see you.